So this is going to be a short video about the differences between the traditional three-phase ABC induction motor, often called the squirrel cage motor, which is referring to the rotor, and the single phase, in this case capacitor start motor. First thing you'll notice is that we only have two windings on the single phase motor. We have what's called a main winding, and then we have an auxiliary winding. Now you remember the theory for this single phase motor is that we need to create at least two phases in order to get a rotating field around the rotor area. And we're going to do that by putting a capacitor in series with this winding. Now, we don't need the capacitor in the circuit all the time, or even this auxiliary winding, so we're going to use what we call a centrifugal switch to open up when the unit comes up to speed. Now I'm going to turn the unit around a little bit so we can see the back end, and you can see this is the capacitor. And this right here is this. I've got the ohm meter on it, and you can see it's reading 0 ohms. If I'm going to open up the switch, which just means I pull it, velocity is going to open it up. The switch goes open. Closed, open. So we're going to use this switch to be in series with the capacitor and the auxiliary winding, and when the motor comes up to speed, this switch will open up, and then we'll just have the one winding. Right? If you look at the rest of the motor, you can see the rotor and the winding. It looks amazingly similar to the three-phase induction motor. And that's really only because only the outside winding differs in the actual motor. The rotor section is identical essentially on both of these machines. Right? But we do add the centrifugal switch and the capacitor and the intermittent winding for the single phase motor. Now, not all single phase induction motors are made this way, but this is one way. One thing you'll listen for when this motor starts up is you'll listen for that switch to open. So I'll try and point that out. It makes a very noticeable click. Okay, in order to wire up the motor, I'm just going to take a variable AC supply so I can control the startup and speed. I come to the main winding, that's direct connection, and then I'm going to put the intermediate or auxiliary winding in parallel, but I'm also going to put the capacitor, it's already in series, and then I'm going to come from the capacitor to the centrifugal switch, and then from the centrifugal switch back to the return. Now, when I turn this on, you'll crank it up and you'll hear it come up to speed, and then listen for the click of the centrifugal switch that's on the back side. There you heard the switch go in, and if I turn it off, reduce voltage, you'll hear that come back and unclick. So it went from closed to open, and now it just went back to closed. So that's how the unit operates.